Now, go ahead and talk. Can't shut them up.
Yeah, I don't want to. No.
Yeah.
It's no relation. Oh, right. Yeah, okay, I just, when I heard Eric's wedding, I just was curious.
That's not a comment.
Oh, I know, but in Fort Benton, I was thinking,
I saw the name first too, and I was like, all right, which one of them is
yeah,
getting married?
Oh, just trying to stay out of trouble.
I hear you there.
He will tell me after this. So are they gonna change it? Are they gonna say color? Or are they gonna change it up?
DOT is coming in. MCS is coming in. Yeah, sorry.
well,
That's all you can do. And enforce it.
Needs it. I like it.
Yeah, those little scooters.
Second, I think.
Is it the same thing?
Third.
She was talking to us.
He's lost sleep, he tells me, but just knowing he has to go.
Oh, seats in it? So, but it has to be, because it said it's not, you see, like. I suppose I hate a bunch of it, you know. Well,
Hey, how we doing?
That's the one. Nice to meet you.
How about you? Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well. I have. Yeah.
Are you agree?
Yeah. Born and raised. Born and raised from Great Falls, yeah. Great Falls High. Yeah, I don't know. My kids, our kids all went to CMR though.
Oh, is that right?
Yep, now we're mixed. It's mixed. But yeah, it's great. Great community.
No,
It's reality. I just allow them to focus in on their original intent. Opportunity into the facility that's pricing there. Yeah, we have so, I mean, this is just such a great community to be a part of. So this all feels really good. No. So you can just meet people, I mean, it's people who are doing great healthcare and communities. And that's what it's about, so. I don't ever want to put that at risk.
How are you?
The house. How are you? How are you?
So the 26th.
What? I have this
No. Jeremy working the job.
Yeah.
We're set at 7, so wide open.
You see those banners still hanging.
And then it's only had like
Well,
18
Chris
days.
was on. I seen him, after the progress when he was, and I commented.
So I was like, well, this started.
If I'd have had those up there before that, he wouldn't have complained about it. He would have liked, bring those down. So. Give it some adjustment.
I'm just welcome.
So you don't know yet.
Of course, they went.
I heard he
Well,
They want to change the street to what?
somebody said, you want to? And I said, oh, I didn't know
Like
that.
3 different style screens.
Then she kind of showed. Ladies, like, I was eating a crappy, but today, like, anything you did. Instantly cried. Too much barbecue sauce for the workshop. She's done.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, I just. So. Here's one more. Is there? No, it's a rain.
Rain.
At the inches.
Okay.
That did some.
That's a big.
We talked about that.
There's no It's just a small. Yeah. Okay.
I got some.
Sit on the phone.
Yeah. Saturday, they're all leaving on
Oh, nice.
It's like we
Just dropped.
Yeah.
That's a good problem.
then we're gonna start up that
I didn't know you
we're gonna start it up after
Yeah, 3 to 4 inches.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
he's in bar.
Yeah.
And pretty much every time we've been to that, we've seen it. Every time.
That's awesome.
Restaurant. The owner brings it in, straight to the camel.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any corrections or additions?
A motion to accept the minutes as today.
Okay, motion made. Second. Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Okay, claims. Get a chance to look at the claims. Any questions on the claims?
Make a motion to approve claims for a final total of $26,053.35.
I second.
Okay, the motion is seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Yes, updated building permit list.
We noted on the building permit list, the final one from that Murray Holman. It is actually, the pad is only 84 inches by 83 inches. Not 84 feet by 83 feet.
Oh,
She doesn't own that much property.
inches and not feet.
Yeah.
Yes,
Three
please.
inches.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so correction, I'll make that correction, thank you. Okay. Committees report. Merle.
The Water and Sewer Committee met. We're reviewing the applicants to be our engineering firm going forward. Now we have Great West. They were the only ones that put in an application. They had to be in by Thursday. So the committee was that we would continue on with, our recommendation would be to carry on with Great West.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve the committee's report.
okay. Committee report for Great West is our second. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Right, community.
No, sir.
Just a correction on the agenda, it says for that economic development, which I am the chairman of, but I believe that Berlin's sewer and water handled it.
Yeah, that was a typo. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Vern?
Nothing for me.
Roger?
Yes, we do have had a special permit application come in, and it's for a wedding that will be June 21st. We're going to be using the old the walking bridge for the event. Minimal time, about an hour and a half, and between 15 and 20 people. They met all the qualifications, and so make a motion to approve the permit.
Okay,
Second.
a motion and seconded to approve the permit for the area wedding. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. We have no announcements. Someone open it up for public comment period? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Please state your name.
Louis
State-
King. My name's,
We'd have to record this, the recording is back there, so.
oh, okay.
Sorry,
So where do I need to go?
you're fine right there. Just-
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine right there.
I'm Louis King with Benton Health System, and I've been here before. And first of all, let me just say, Michael Hara is not here tonight, and he sends his regrets. He had an appointment in Missoula, and he's not going to be back till late tonight, so he just said he wanted me to just mention he's sorry he's not here. And I'm not going to be making the public comment. We have Miss Rainey Kennedy, who is our Executive Vice President of Benefits Health System, and basically other titles, but she runs all of Benefits hospitals, which there's quite a few. So, Rainey, let me let you.
Yeah, thanks, Louis.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, good evening. As Louis said, my name is Rain Ginnity. Benefits Health System was evaluating the potential of being able to build a new hospital facility for Missouri River Medical Center here in Fort Benton. And given uncertainty around federal reimbursements, so federal CMS at the federal level, we are not moving forward with those plans. And so wanted to be here tonight to deliver that message to all of you. What that does allow us to do is to focus on our original commitment with the current building here, so Benefits or Missouri River Medical Center, and our commitment to look at how we enhance that current facility. So as part of that purchase agreement, we agreed that if, going forward, we would evaluate with the medical team what is needed in that space. And so that is what we will kind of shift our focus to instead of a new build, really going back and taking a look at that current facility.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay. Destination Fort Benton agreement. I'll start that off by stating that I got a letter here dated the 27th of May of this year, congratulating the city of Fort Benton for being accepted into the Montana Department of Commerce Montana Main Street program. And with that, I'm going to see if Shannon can explain what that is.
So this was the, Shannon Walden. We applied for this program earlier this spring. This is a different program than the grant funding that we received, but they both come out of the Department of Commerce. So we have yet to have our official training for this, but what we understand is the budget for the entire Department of Commerce is $100,000. So the funding available.
The Main Street, Montana.
The Main Street, yeah. And the funding available to us will be much smaller than the pilot grant money that we received. But what we are hoping is it'll open up avenues for us to work with other small communities that have worked through the Main Street program. So when it's time to start gathering research on whatever we decide, however we're moving forward with some pilot grant money or anything else that's coming down the pipe, we can utilize those pre-existing communities. So what else?
They just awarded $100,000 in grants for Montana Main Street communities just this month. So I think they do that grant cycle every year. So we would have the opportunity then next year to apply for grants within the Montana Main Street program.
Okay.
Oh, and any money that comes through that program needs to be run through the city as the fiscal agency. And I mentioned to Whitley over the weekend that we were getting into that program, and that she and I have worked on a couple of other projects. So I was going to kind of connect with her to see if she could be sort of our person who understands the various aspects of that relationship between Montana Main Street and the city.
Okay.
But all of this, anything that we seek funding for would come from you. So.
Okay, anyway, we'll have to open it.
Just a comment.
Go ahead.
In order to do that, if you anticipate receiving grant monies, we need to know, because that has to be entered into special coding or wherever we're going to put that.
Yeah, okay.
Because we have to anticipate reception of the money so that it can be expended, and we won't get. Even if we don't receive it, it has to be in the budget at least, that there's a possibility we're going to receive X amount of dollars, whatever, but it has to be in the next fiscal budget if you anticipate receiving it or getting it between 25 and 26. Yeah.
Is there already projects that have been identified for it, or you guys have just been notified when you get the grant and you're going to look for projects?
For the Montana Main Street program, no projects identified yet. For the Destination Fort Benton, the pilot tourism grant, that's a different thing. Yes, there's lots of projects identified.
So is the community supposed to talk to council if they have ideas for the Main Street grant monies, or talk to you guys, or how do you funnel ideas for projects?
I think what would work best is for us to understand what sorts of projects. We have to do the training first through the Main Street program, so then we'll know what's eligible or not.
Okay.
And then probably we would put a note on our Facebook page or hold a public meeting to say, here's where we can go with this money. I'm assuming.
Do you guys know when you'll know the amount and like what is eligible like after that training? Have a rough idea?
We're just, right now, the training hasn't been totally scheduled between ourselves and the woman who runs the program. There's only one person who runs the program, so she's pretty tight. Did you say?
I think by September, we would be through that initial training.
We'll let Bethany know.
Yeah.
She'll feature.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it's cool.
Now, I will, we'll talk about the lease agreement. Visited with Grant for a little bit today, and also visited with, manager, the program manager for liability from MMIA. And, that being said, she did state that she looked at the lease agreement that we had, that Brad had drafted, and she thought it was spot on in terms of protecting the city. So, we did talk about a few changes, and with that, I'll give you the floor, Grant.
Sure. So the liability protection, that stayed the same. That's pretty much standard MMIA language. So I'm not surprised MMIA liked it. It's theirs. The lease portion, of course, we after the last council meeting, I wrote that down to zero to account for Destination Fort Benton's contributions to the community. The tasks that you're taking on that the city just can't shoulder those burdens, but we're glad somebody can. In addition, the grant funding restricting what you're able to spend money on, I think that's an important consideration for the council, as well as the resolution that the council passed in support of Destination Fort Benton, as well as, your participation in the growth policy. I think all of those kind of culminate that we're, it's the council's decision, not mine, but those are the rationales that are baked into the lease, providing the space for no rent. So.
And as we put a little language in there just to kind of clarify where it's not open season, so then.
No, the council's not giving away space to everybody.
Right.
You guys are pretty special. So.
Anybody with $1 million.
So with that, unless you folks have something else to say, and want to talk more about if you know any more about your liability insurance policy, as soon as we have that in place, we can probably go ahead and sign this lease agreement when you're ready.
Okay, we are waiting on quotes from Church Mutual, which we've been told is probably the best program for us, and they take 30 days. So we're in that process, just waiting. We will need to provide them with some information on square footage of the space and some age of the building information. So we have a form that we would need some help filling out, and we can take that and the lease agreement back to the insurance company to get that settled.
So with that, I suppose we would have to probably want to wait and put it on another meeting. I'm assuming we want to have this passed by the council, this lease agreement with the insurance that's up to date.
Well, we tabled resolution, and that resolution has to be passed before we enter into the agreement. And we've tabled that, and we're not bringing it up tonight.
Right.
Because it has to be modified, that resolution.
So I'm just saying down the road, we can finish the resolution and the lease agreement probably all
in one.
Yeah. Okay.
But
so we're making progress.
If they can, we can do it on the 16th, but I don't know when.
I'm hoping within a couple of weeks we'll have our insurance in place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, it'll be the first meeting in July.
Right. Okay, I think we're making progress.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have Nicole and Denise here? Yeah.
There was miscommunication. I told Nicole we had to be at this meeting. And as she was leaving for another meeting, she said, well, you didn't tell me this is so I apologize. So she didn't have what she needed prepared. I think she was just trying to see what kind of support the city would give her. What they would prepare cats.
Well, you know what I would suggest?
Mhm.
I would suggest to take the concerns to Mr. Smith here
Okay,
at the sheriff's office, because that's who's got to address it.
okay, and I'll just tell her that's what she needs to do.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I mean, we're willing to hear her out, because there's no law enforcement here, so with.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay. All right. That's why I had Justin here, but anyway, sorry. Good to see you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we come to the big topic of the night. Pool preliminary engineering review. We hired Interstate Engineering to do a preliminary engineering review for the pool. That was done, published, and I think a lot of people have got a copy of it that's distributed. So with that, we need to know how to move forward with this pool. And if you look at it, there's 3 alternatives in here. One being a Band-Aid, fix the plumbing, which is, one being a Band-Aid, I call it, that might buy us 5 to 10 years on the pool to the tune of about $350,000. If we go to alternative 2, which includes all the plumbing from the Band-Aid, and also a final liner to the tune of about $1.3 million to fix the pool, that should buy us, according to the engineers, about 20 years, being conservative. And then alternative 3 is build a new pool. So we're talking $4 to $5.5 million to build a new pool. So that's what we've got. And a little update on money. I have hired Great West Engineering grant writer to work on a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, which he is actively working on it right now. And I visited with him earlier this past week, and we talked about these figures as far as the alternative goes. And he was looking in the past grant recipients. And it so happens Big Sandy, a couple of years ago, in recent past, received $615,000 for their pool. And that sounds like a good deal, but keep in mind, I think this Land and Water Conservation Grant is a 50% match. So if we were to get some kind of pretty healthy grant from Land and Water Conservation Fund at about $600,000, we still need to, if we want to go with option 2, which is a liner for the pool, we're still short about $700,000. So we need to figure out how to get that. So that's my takeaway from this, and I'll open it up for discussion. Okay. Diane, do you like to speak?
Yeah, I called Caden and talked with him a little bit on going through this. And my thing was, number 2 is the better option for now, because I guess I don't see that we're gonna raise, it'll be more than 5 million when we get ready to build a new pool. So I asked him, I said, well, what if I come up with 300,000 to begin with, where do you start? And he said that would be probably a little more than what we need. And they would come out and they would survey it and come up with the design on how they're gonna put the pipes and do all of that. Because the old pipes would go away. They would go to the, probably 3 pipes would need to be rerouted. So to me, the less pipes, the better for less breaking. The liner is going to save on chlorine, is going to save fixing all the cracks in the pool, because you got to do that right now every year and they don't last. So putting that liner in there, your water problem will be gone. they fix those lines, that big leaking problem will be gone. They'll put new gutters in there. It'll bring everything up to code. So he said if we came up with that first 300,000, that would get us the survey and the design, and then they could get us a closer figure to what it would cost us to get that done. I asked him about in here on page, sorry. It says about they would help us with grants and that kind of stuff. So I asked him if they would be willing to come up here and if we set up a program, kind of like, and I was gonna talk to Joelle in here, kind of like what that guy did with the shopping, where we could open it up to the community and they would put on like a slideshow saying, show what we got, what their plan would be to fix it. What does the community want to do? Here's your new pool. You want to raise that much money? Here's your alternative. I think one is just a waste of time and money. It's just kicking the can.
I agree.
And you guys would always have that choice of, in the 5 years, yeah, we're still losing water because you're still going to lose water. We're closing it down. So I say if we're going to raise money and put money in, we really need to do the alternative too. And they would be willing to help us do something like that. They also would be willing to give me lists of places for other grants. They said hit the co-ops, hit your telephone companies, hit your Northwest Energy, all those kind of people. We won't get big money like that 600 or whatever, but a little bit helps. And I really think once we have a plan and the people know how much money we need, there could be money coming from elsewhere that we might not expect. Just because right now, people are in limbo. They're like, well, yeah, what's gonna happen? Is our money really gonna get used for that? So I think now if we can have a plan, say, yep, people can see it, but let's get them here and let's see if we can get the community to come see and be interested in what do they want.
Okay, I think we can set that up.
A couple of questions if possible.
Sure.
The land and water conservation grant matching funds, can those matching funds be other grant money? Or do they have to be like guaranteed upfront money?
I can't speak on that, but I'll find out.
The second question I had was, in that second package, can any of that work be phased? Or does it have to be done all in one session?
Well, he alludes to that in this chart. If,
You mean like do it in phases?
downtime is moderate.
Yeah, like can you do the drains and the piping first without having to do the liner right away? Or the gutters separate from those other things, like you do one summer and the liner the next
I
summer?
think that would have to be an engineer question.
Yeah.
That's why we want to have a meeting, I think.
The destination or the pilot grant money, you know, we budgeted 250,000 next summer, but then there could potentially be money the following summer
Right.
also if we were able to phase it like.
Well, that's why I kind of like to get them up here and then we can ask those kind of questions. You know, just having them here and saying, doing that, okay, can we do this in breakdowns? Which, when I talked to them in the very beginning, it sounded like they can do things like that. Chinook is kind of in the middle of that right now, having theirs refurbished. So, and he said the same thing, they come up with the money, but now.
Using the same engineering firm too, right?
Mhm. But they raised a bunch of money, and then what else they needed, they got a bond. Well, I'm really trying to stay away from that, having to tax people to get the pool. So.
Anybody else, council, any comments?
So the 350 that you said, for him to engineer for the piping and stuff, is that gotta be up front, or is that, we're gonna say, well, okay, we're gonna raise the 350, go ahead and engineer the piping, or how?
No, that would be them coming out, and it would be, he told me, I said 300,000, he said it'd probably be a little less than that. They would come survey what, and then they would come up with the design of what they would actually do with our pool at that point.
An engineering design that could go out to bid. Basically.
yes, that we could either have them, because they have people that do this, or there was a comment in here about certain things we could have done right here in our community to help get the process going. That's how I understood it. But that 300,000 would be the survey and the design of what is this gonna look like when they're done? How are we gonna do this? How are they gonna do our gutters? How are they gonna do those pipes?
But what I get at is that 300,000 isn't
That's-
going
That's
towards
part
the
of that
total.
figure.
It is part of the 1 point.
Yes, and then he said, after they got that done, and they knew kind of, exactly design how to do it, they could give us a closer figure of what the rest would cost.
Right. But I mean, we
So
have
a
to
little
spend
more or a little
300,000 just on that, and then we go into.
No, that's how I understood it. How I understood it, it's
Okay.
part of that figure.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I think you need to invite them to come to, either we have a special meeting on the pool, or we incorporate it in another,
I think we need to have,
and then,
we got a pool committee, we can just find it.
yeah, because we haven't
Right.
met with anybody yet.
No, that's why I brought it up to
Yeah.
council, so we can just get moving on the process.
Yeah, no problem, I agree. The alternative two is probably the best selection.
Diane, you'll work with me to get that date set up? and we'll
Sure.
Get it lined up.
Sure.
Okay. And if anybody wants a copy of the engineering review on the pool, just let us know, we'd be happy to supply you with one. So it's got a lot of detail in it, as far as they go. Okay. Any more comments or concerns?
One thing, if I can just interject, I just want to make sure that Diane gets appreciation because she's the one who found this guy and has us on a path to make things happen. And that
I don't
is-
want it, I just want it to happen. That's
I
all.
understand, but I just think the extra effort that you went to is worth recognizing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. All right, department head, Cindy, what are they? What? Who we got back?
John's back there somewhere.
Just, getting the pool operational, it's been kind of a chore this year, obviously, I'm just regular chores around town. Get ready for summer celebration.
Carol?
Well, you got the pool cleaned on Sunday, yesterday. And while we were cleaning, there was a sizable leak, but Scott got it fixed. So just to let you know, it's every day there's something new that we find that's breaking, so. And we also have 5, possibly 6 lifeguards on. And they'll be training, they already started today and tomorrow. And we're hoping to open either Wednesday or Thursday
This week.
this week, yes.
Okay.
All pool passes are up at the pool. We don't sell them here, the kids do up there.
Okay. Thank you, Carol.
Ask, since you mentioned you're ready for summer celebration, and since we have the sheriff, if you have any comments or questions on summer celebration policing for us?
We're just gonna kind of mirror what we did last year, and I thought that was pretty successful. We curbed underage drinking and all that involved. And I think we are up to almost full manning, so we don't need to bring any support from any other counties or agencies, so
So you're
we
ready?
got it.
Okay. Well, there's no other further business, meeting adjourned.
Go Oilers. Wednesday night.
Cool. What about that? See, that free card.
Water slide.
Yeah.